Welcome back to the Grindhouse, sickos. So, as you can probably tell, I just finished watching a Serbian film. Well, let me just say, for the record, this is not the most messed up movie I've seen. Well, it probably is. But hear me out. I said I was a fan of Grindhouse. But by that, I meant Grindhouse. I didn't mean exploitation films. This movie was an exploitation film. Wow, this movie was, well, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but it was by no means an easy watch. So I'm just gonna go off the rail. There's no real script here right now. Just going to go off of my own tongue. Keep in mind, I won't be showing any clips from the movie, and I'll be explaining the movie as lightly as I can because, you know, I don't want to get banned from YouTube. I just got here. So, the movie was made in 2011 by, I think his name is Serbian Spasojevic? I don't know. And it was made around a time where apparently Serbian cinema was very predictable and just very boring. It was just boring, and there were a lot of strict rules as to what could be shown in Serbia. So, Serbian decided to go off the rail and make a Srpski film, or a Serbian film. And if what he was trying to accomplish was to show that Serbian cinema can still be off the rail and just batshit crazy, he accomplished that. Because this is one of the most twisted movies I've ever seen. Alright. I'm gonna go off on a whim here. So, what is the plot of the movie? Basically, it's a retired P star, you know, adult films or cartoons for grown-ups, as the movie calls it. Basically, it's about a retired P star who is struggling with money. You know, he has a family, he has a wife and a kid, and he doesn't have that much money. And he left the adult film industry years ago. Until one day his former adult film star, partner, I forgot her name, she approaches him one day and tells him, hey, there's going to be a major filming of adult films here in Serbia, and they want you because they've seen your work, and they want you to come out of retirement because they think you're the best one to do it. So he goes to this place. First of all, let me say, the actor who plays Milos, who is the character in the movie, he did a very, very good job. I forgot his name. He did a very good job, though. Excuse me. Turning into Cold Raven. So he goes to this warehouse, not a warehouse, like a mansion almost, where there's this guy named Vukmir. Yeah, both first and last name are Vukmir, and he has him sign a contract, and he shows him how much money he's gonna earn, but we don't see how much money he earns, or well, was proposed to him, because if you saw the movie, if you know, you know. We never see how much money he is actually given. So when he signs it, he talks with his wife, and let me just say, it's kind of weird how his wife is all fine with this. I don't think I would be fine with this. Not just from the perspective of his wife, but from my own perspective. I don't know if I'd be comfortable doing that while I have a wife, let alone a kid. But he talks with her and she agrees. I think it's just because of the money. He signs the contract and he is brought on set for his first day of filming. And the first place he does a shooting at is an orphanage. Keep in mind, if you probably know where this is going, and if you don't want it to go in that direction, you might want to leave. You might want to leave. This may not be for you. Anyways, if you're still here, that is. He goes in. He has a little earpiece in his ear. But the funny thing about the earpiece is it's literally an earbud, like those like wired earbuds. They've cut it off and they put it in his ear. You can still see some residue of the wire. That made me laugh during the movie. Keep in mind, I did know a little bit from the movie. I had seen a bunch of clips from the movie before, but I never fully saw it in one sitting. Anyways, he goes in and it's literally an orphanage. He gets meted by a nurse, and she guides him down a hallway, and we see this like little teenage. She's not even like a little girl. She's like a teenage. She's underaged, and she's sitting there, and her mom, the girl's mom, comes up and says that she was a mistake, and she'd rather have died than give birth to her. And she drags her away. And the next day, or the next time they film, they shoot that scene again. But this time, she hits her, and she says more things, and then she's dragged away by the bodyguards. And then he gets pulled into a room where he is given forced, how do I say this? How do I say this without getting banned? Without getting nuked? He is given a forced knobber. If you know what a knobber is, oh well. You know. But then they flash pictures of the girl on screen. On two screens in front of Milos. And yeah. Okay, so yeah. I want to say something about... I will say something good about the movie. The movie presents an atmosphere that I haven't seen in any other movie. Do I think this is a horror movie? Yes. Yes, it is a horror movie. But it's unlike any horror I've ever seen. It's not The Conjuring horror. It's not Hereditary horror. It's just otherworldly kind of horror that I have never seen in my life. It makes you feel uneasy. Makes you feel queasy. Makes you sick. You know? And anyways, after that, he is taken... What happened next? I can't even remember. He starts to have second thoughts, obviously. But then the next time they film, he walks into a room and he sees the mom of the girl who was in the orphanage. She's getting beaten by one of the guards, and they make her crawl to him, and, you know, she does the thing with him on the ground, not the knobber. And Milos realizes that the little girl, the underage girl, is watching him from a chair from the far end, and he's like, understandably, he doesn't like this, but he's grabbed from behind and he's restrained, and he's forced to stand there and hit her. He's told to hit the woman who's named Jekka. I remember that. And it's around this point when we realize that Milos is pretty much trapped and he has no way of escape. And there's nothing he can do but just sit there and do what he's told. Later on, after that, he obviously had second thoughts, and he goes to Vukmir and tells him that he wants to retire and he wants to leave. Then the most infamous scene of the entire movie is commenced. Vukmir tells him that he specialized as a therapist all those years ago, and that he thinks he would, if he had to choose between Milos and kids, he says he would choose kids. Then he dims the lights and plays a short film. This is a film of a woman who gives birth, and there's a man who helps deliver the baby, and once the baby is out of her, you can imagine. I don't even want to tell you. You can just imagine. After Milos sees what is being done to the baby, he obviously leaves. He nopes the hell out of there. He gets in his car and he leaves. But he is stopped at a red light by the same nurse who was guiding him down the hallway in the beginning. And she takes him back to the place. He is drugged with a drug that will make him just hot and bothered all the time. So they take him back. They take him to the they take him to this room where there's a bed, and they strap Jekka down to the bed with handcuffs. And since he's on the drug, he's just all riled up. And they let him go, and he's doing it to her. And the guy Vukmir's in the earpiece. He's like talking him. He's like, imagine if this girl was your son's boy. She just does stuff to bums and all that. And he starts hitting her, and the slapping escalates to punching, like actual punches with the fist. Then they give him a machete, and he says, strike her. And he does. Hits her in the neck. And let me make the noise. Off with her head. Very, very graphic scene. Very graphic. But honestly, in my opinion, the baby scene, that's as disturbing as the movie's ever going to get. The rest of the movie, I've seen worse. Well, I haven't seen worse, but I've heard of worse. And hearing's half the battle, but to me, hearing is most of the battle. Anyways, let me just say, there's a period of time where after Vukmir left from that baby place, he was drugged, and he woke up a few days later. He didn't remember anything, so he went back to the place where he had done filming, and he found a bunch of videotapes. And he plays them all, and he sees all the stuff they did. He sees all the stuff that was done to him. One of the guards did stuff to him. They killed his friend, who was the person who started this whole thing, who told him about the offer. They ripped out all her teeth, and they suffocated her to death with, trying to keep this as friendly as possible. Anyways, after that, he goes to the final act of the movie, which Vukmir calls a warm family home. You may imagine where this is going. There's two people on a bed, both with cloths over their heads, and Milos goes at one of them. And once he's finished, he goes to the smaller one, and someone goes to the one he had just finished with, and he's doing it, and he's wearing a cloth over his head with like holes for the eyes and mouth. They pull it off, and he sees that it's actually his brother, who during the whole movie was having this like lust over Milos's wife. And he was jealous of him because Milos was so much better than him in the aspect of, sexual performance, and he never was. He was never able to settle down with a wife or anything. He was a cop, so he would just, take women in, probably to forgive them for their crimes or whatever. So after that, Milos, he just remembers everything. He remembers. So the first cloth is pulled off, and we see that his brother is taking Milos's wife. Then they take off the other cloth, and it's Peter, the boy. Yeah. Anyways, after that, Milos retaliates. He attacks Vukmir and bashes his head into the floor, making him bleed. He grabs the gun of one of the guards and kills them. Meanwhile, Milos's wife is biting the neck of Milos's brother, and she grabs a statue, and smashes his skull in with it. Then the craziest death scene ever happens. One of the guards, for some reason, is missing an eye. Like, it's just a gaping, black hole. And since Milos is hot and bothered, he uses his Hugh Jackman to into the guy's eye, killing him. He killed him. And after that, his wife is obviously shaken up, and she grabs a knife and she's, telling him to stay away from her. And he punches her and he knocks her out. And he takes them, both her and his son, to their house, down into the basement, on a mattress, and locks the door. He goes upstairs to get a gun and kill himself, but the gun has no ammo. So he goes to his bed and he lays down, and that's how he woke up. He went back, he retraced all his steps, and when he realized that he had left his wife and son in the basement, he came back, went down into the basement, and found them, and they were just a complete mess. Everyone in the movie was such a good actor. Everyone. There are scenes that I failed to mention, like one scene where Vukmir is trying to get Milos to partner up with the underage girl, and the underage girl's supposed grandma was talking to Milos about how he killed a whore, which was her mom, which was her daughter, and that she was good for nothing, and they needed a man to be in charge of the house, and he's the man, and he was going to teach her granddaughter how to be a woman. And he jumped out the window and he left, and he went to the street to just sit down and he called his brother to go get him, and we all know where his brother was at that time. And he just sits there, and there's a prostitute who walks by, and he starts to lay one out right there, and he gets beat up by two people who were following the prostitute, and the prostitute was underage, by the way. Yeah, one of the reasons why the movie was so controversial was because of its sexualization of underage people, underage minors. Yeah, and at the end of the movie, they basically realize that there's no way they'll ever be the same again. It doesn't matter what they do, they'll never be the same again. So they all lay in bed, and they all huddle together for the last time, and Milos pulls up his gun and he kills all three of them. Then at the end of the movie, we see a new director and two of the guards. The guard says, "Start with the little one. The contract isn't over," and that's how the movie ends. Well, oh boy, do I think this movie is good? No, not really. No. It's just like, I guess I'm the wrong audience, because I know there's people who like this movie. It's one of those cult classics, I guess. Well, soon to be cult classic, because this movie was made in like 2011. How many years ago was that? After the final Saw movie, which was in 2010. The movie is... it's good at being a horror movie. It's good at making you feel uncomfortable. It's good at scaring you. If you have the balls to watch this movie, go ahead and watch it. I watched it on fedupmovies.com, which is just a whole host of all kinds of movies like that. My overall rating of the movie was, it wasn't that good. It was, like, I know it got its message across, but it could have been so much less graphic and so much less messed up. Obviously, I went off on a whim here. I had no script. And yeah, that is my review of a Serbian film. The movie... Oh, I want to mention, the movie has a damn good soundtrack. The movie does away with music, where it puts music... And the music seems almost unfitting for the actual event in some places, but it does work. It has a lot of bassy, like scratchy DJ, like dubstep music. It's like dubstep, like Russian dubstep almost, but it's Serbian dubstep. And the movie has a very good atmosphere. It's good at making you feel uneasy, as I said earlier. Do I recommend it? Only if you have the guts to watch it. If you don't, then just don't. It's not worth putting yourself through it if you can't handle it. This is the first time I saw the movie. It was pretty messed up, but it wasn't the worst thing I've seen. in my life. I don't know why. I guess that is a bad thing. I guess that's why I started this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching my review, and I will see you guys in my next video.